You wake up staring at a blood-red exit sign inside a windowless concrete backroom. Two plainclothes security guards stand by the heavy steel door, their arms crossed, tracking your every micro-movement. On the cold metal table between you sits $45,000 in high-denomination casino chips, locked inside a plastic evidence case. The house didn't beat you at the blackjack tables, they trapped you inside the system. To beat the house, you have to survive 5 distinct levels of escalating psychological warfare, turning your brain into a biological computer while pretending to be an impulsive addict. But every empire has a precise breaking point. This is how you build one from nothing, and exactly how you lose it. Level 1, the kitchen table. You do not begin your journey on a vibrant, flashing casino floor. You begin under a flickering desk lamp in a silent, cramped apartment, surrounded by walls of cheap acoustic foam. You flip through thousands of pristine bicycle card decks, one by one, until your thumbs bleed and your vision blurs. Your goal is flat-fixed and unforgiving. Count a full 52 card deck down to 0 in under 20 seconds flat. You must flick through the pairs, canceling out a king with a 3, a 10 with a 5, letting the running total float in your mind without a single second of hesitation. You master the classic high-low system until tracking these numerical deviations becomes a subconscious reflex, as natural as breathing. You look at the cold numbers on your scratch pads and learn the uncompromising law of risk of ruin. You discover the mathematical truth that a statistical edge is completely useless without the massive capital required to absorb the devastating downward spikes of negative variance. You learn that even with a perfect 2% advantage over the house, a bad run of cards can easily wipe out a small bankroll in an hour. You are not a gambler looking for a lucky streak. You are an auditor identifying a structural glitch in a deeply flawed corporate game. Level 2, the $5 grind. You take your tiny, hard-earned bankroll to the lowest stakes, smokiest casino floors in the city. This is the proving ground. You sit at a sticky, low-tier blackjack table surrounded by frantic, superstitious gamblers who blow smoke in your face and scream at the dealer for a 7. They are playing for luck, guided by gut feelings and confirmation bias. You are tracking a mathematical deviation, entirely detached from the noise. You sit rigidly for 6 grueling hours at a time, shifting your wagers precisely between $5 and $50 based entirely on the calculated true count. This is where you learn the brutal mental toll of real-world variance. You watch a highly positive deck, a shoe loaded to the brim with 10s and aces, completely wipe out your double downs on the final hand because the dealer pulled a miraculous 5-card 21. The emotional weight of watching your cash slide across the green felt tests your psychological discipline to its absolute limit. You realize the harsh logistical reality of the solo counter. A single pair of eyes and a microscopic bankroll will eventually be ground down to absolute 0 by table maximums and cumulative exhaustion. To scale this operation into something highly profitable, you need an organized network. Level 3, the spotter. You join an organized local syndicate, surrendering your personal autonomy to become a single, invisible cog in a much larger mathematical machine. You are deployed back to the floor, but this time as a low-level spotter. You sit at a mid-tier table for hours on end, playing the absolute table minimum, acting bored, distracted, or slightly drunk. You chat up the cocktail waitresses and complain about your imaginary losses to the pit boss. But inside your mind, you are executing flawless, high-speed tracking of every single card dealt across the semicircle. You learn the high-stakes art of cover, masking intense, rapid calculations behind casual, fluid banter. You learn to never let your eyes track the cards too closely. When the deck finally crosses the statistical threshold and becomes heavily loaded with high cards, you execute the signal. You do not scratch your nose or lean back. You rest exactly 3 fingers flat on the green felt to indicate a true count of +3. As the syndicate's designated big player casually strolls past your table, you speak a prearranged, coded phrase loud enough to confirm the exact depth of the shoe. I lost $1,200 at the slots last night. 1,200 means a true count of +12. The trap is primed, and you step back to let the weapon strike. Level 4, the trusted weapon. You are promoted to the big player. You are now the syndicate's public-facing executioner, bearing the direct burden and intense pressure of the team's secret capital. You walk into the high-limit room acting like a wealthy, arrogant, reckless tourist who has had far far too much to drink. You do not count the cards. You do not look at the discard tray. You simply wait for your spotter's silent finger placement and coded audio cues. You swoop into the game like a whale, dropping maximum limit $5,000 bets on a heavily favored deck. The casino floor managers see a loud, foolish businessman bleeding cash on a whim. In reality, you are executing hyper-rational, cold-blooded variance exploitation. Casino surveillance tracks your massive betting spikes, but your erratic persona, loud complaints, and deliberate playing errors completely deflect their tracking algorithms. Money flows into your pockets by the tens of thousands. You learn to handle the massive adrenaline spikes of risking a year's wages on a single turn of a card, keeping your heart rate flat while holding a pair of face cards against a dealer's ace. You learn that the real battle isn't against the dealer, it's against the eye in the sky. Level 5, the playing manager. You move to the operational peak of your career, managing a decentralized cell of 8 people while still anchoring the high-stakes floor play yourself. From a secure, dark motel room filled with glowing screens, you log into encrypted spreadsheets to analyze daily statistical yields, schedule precise shift rotations, and manage complex bankroll distribution. You review data models of casino shift changes, tracking which pit bosses are lenient and which surveillance teams are hyper-aggressive. At night, you put on a tailored suit and hit the high-limit tables yourself to keep your skills sharp and anchor the team's heaviest hitting. You balance the cold, unyielding mathematics of the game with the extreme psychological stress of managing fragile human variables under intense corporate surveillance. You have to spot when a counter is getting tired, when a spotter is overcounting, or when a teammate is skimming cash from the top. You are running a ghost corporation inside an ecosystem designed to destroy you. The identity trap. The entire system fractures during a highly coordinated run at a major casino property on the Strip. A new spotter on your team cracks under pressure during a devastating shoe, losing focus and drawing the direct attention of surveillance with a delayed hand signal. Because you are actively playing at the adjacent table as the big player, you are caught in the shifting dragnet. The security team moves in smoothly, blocking the exits. They do not assault you, and they do not seize your chips by force because they know the local gaming laws inside out. Instead, they deploy the highly effective identity trap. The pit bosses lead you to the concrete backroom and flatly refuse to cash out your $45,000 in high-denomination plaques unless you hand over your physical ID to be scanned into their global facial recognition database. If you give them your ID, your career is immediately over. Your face is shared with every casino group on Earth, and your entire syndicate is permanently blacklisted. If you walk away without showing ID, your operating capital is trapped forever in useless pieces of colored plastic. It is an intense, silent psychological standoff under the cold concrete backroom lights. They want your name, you want your capital. 2 hours later, you walk out into the dark casino parking lot. Your high-value chips are gone, deliberately abandoned on the metal table to protect the network's anonymity and keep your identity entirely clean. A massive chunk of your cell's operational bankroll is completely vaporized in an instant. You sit in your car, staring through the windshield at the flashing neon lights of the Strip. You do not panic, you do not rage, and you do not quit. You process the $45,000 loss not as an emotional failure, but as a harsh, necessary data point in your overarching equation. You calmly open your laptop on the steering wheel, log the financial deficit into the cell's master spreadsheet, adjust your risk of ruin metrics to account for human error, and begin scouting a new territory.